What is up, Light Fam? Welcome to another video. My name is David. Since my last video on narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD, I received a ton of questions from the twin flame portion of my audience asking if I thought their twin flame was a narcissist. So you guys would be explaining your scenarios. This is usually the divine feminine that's explaining the words and actions of their divine masculine. So since a lot of you twin flames out there are wondering if your divine masculine twin flame is potentially a narcissist, I figured I would try to provide some clarity with a video on, is your twin flame a narcissist? Ooh, juicy one, Light Fam. It's another juicy one. Let's get into this topic right now. Let's go. Is your twin flame a narcissist? Could your divine masculine have narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD? Well, let's take a look at some of the dynamics of the relationship. Does your twin flame have an incessant need to control every aspect of your life, every little detail of your life, even right down to where you go? Controlling where you go helps to ease some of that abandonment trauma that they have, by the way. Do they need to control and dominate every conversation and always find a way to twist that conversation back around into being about themselves? Abandonment trauma is one of the leading causes of NPD. So the obsession to control is massive for the malignant narcissist, because if they can control every situation, control every relationship, control how others speak and act towards them, then they don't have to worry about being abandoned or being left in a vulnerable position or receiving any information to the contrary to the grandiose image that they have of themselves. So if they can stay in control, then they control the narrative that they tell themselves, which protects their fragile little ego. Now, of course, this sets them up to be incredibly codependent, because they constantly need what's known as narcissistic supply from their external world. So let's try to figure out if you are the source of narcissistic supply for your twin flame. Narcissistic supply is the actual drug of the malignant narcissist. Psychologists have likened NPD very closely to the mental disorder associated with drug addiction. So what is narcissistic supply? Narcissistic supply is the emotional payoff or emotional food that the malignant narcissist feeds off of when they get a reaction out of you. The malignant narcissist has an incredibly fragile ego that needs constant attention, constant validation, constant approval from the outside. So the malignant narcissist is unable to derive their value from within. So they're constantly constructing their world from the outside in instead of from the inside out. The irony is that they're self-centered, but they're not self-centered. You spiritual people know what I'm talking about out there. And this is because there is this false self that they've constructed that needs constant feeding from other people to remain alive. Is your twin flame a narcissist? Well, does your twin flame constantly put you in a situation known as a double bind? Now, a double bind is a favorite tactic of the malignant narcissist, where they basically put you in a no-win, danged if you do, danged if you don't situation, where they're only presenting you with two options, both of which are negative outcomes for you. It's basically a trap to keep their fragile ego in control, keep them right and keep you wrong, keep allowing them to blame shift and or play the victim or the martyr. It would look something like this. Let's say the malignant narcissist is complaining that you never do X. Now, in the past, when you used to do X, they would complain about X and be unhappy with X. So you're presented with two choices. Either don't do X, which they're currently complaining about. There's one negative outcome. Or you do X, which you know they'll complain about because they complained about it in the past. So you have to remember, hurt people hurt people. Malignant narcissists are unhappy inside due to childhood trauma. So the whole point of the double bind is to keep you confused as to how to keep them happy. This programs you into seeking their approval, seeking on how to keep them happy over and over again in this confused and helpless state, which binds you to them. This is a form of trauma bonding. And so you get so confused as to how to keep them happy that you start second guessing your own decisions, questioning your judgment, and this makes you more compliant and passive over time. And this is how the narcissist keeps control over you. And this is a great example of narcissistic abuse, by the way. Is your twin flame a narcissist? Well, does your twin flame provide a safe space for you to voice constructive criticism? Criticism, no matter how constructive, is viewed as a personal attack to the malignant narcissist because, again, the life or death of their fragile ego is based off of this grandiose image that they have of themselves, and that grandiose image is only going to feel at ease if there's no information to the contrary coming in from the outside. So criticism, again, no matter how constructive, challenges and contradicts that grandiose false self-image that the narcissist carries around. So is your twin flame a narcissist? Well, when you try to provide constructive criticism, are you met with gaslighting? Are you met with blame shifting? Are you met with emotional blackmail? Do they try to play the victim, or do they get vindictive? That's the real test right there. Do they get vindictive? So if you don't have a safe space in your relationship for personal growth, independent thought, creativity, and authenticity, then that could be a sign that your twin flame is a malignant narcissist. Is your divine masculine twin flame or divine feminine, it really can be either or, a malignant narcissist? Well, one of the biggest narcissistic traits is zero accountability, like ever, for anything. Zero accountability for any words or actions. This is really the holy grail for identifying a malignant narcissist. They never own up to their actions or words. It's never their fault. They're never to blame. They will even go as far as to make up completely outlandish fantasies about what actually happened and then lie to themselves. Like they believe their own lie deep in their core about what actually happened just to protect that fragile little ego and the grandiose image that they've created for themselves. Now, make sure that you do not fall for what's known as conditional responsibility. And this is, well, I did this because you did that, or I'll stop doing this if you agree to stop doing that. There's that insecurity about absolute control rearing its ugly head, because if they can strike a responsibility trade deal, then they've basically stayed in control. They didn't completely lose. It wasn't 100% their fault. They weren't 100% to blame. They've stayed in control there. Which basically just means that the apology is insincere in the first place and completely worthless. Is your twin flame a narcissist? Well, does your twin flame feel like an emotional vampire? Now, if you've been on your spiritual journey, then you're probably familiar with the term energy vampire. And an emotional vampire is kind of the same because emotions are energy. Emotions are energy in motion. So does it feel like your twin flame is constantly baiting you just to get a reaction out of you? The malignant narcissist needs that quick fix, that emotional hit from the person that they consider their narcissistic supply. So does it seem like your twin flame is on high alert to be easily offended, easily slighted? That deep abandonment trauma keeps the malignant narcissist on high defensive alert for any potential threats, real or imaginary, that may challenge that grandiose yet fragile image or perception that they have of themselves. Now, as I mentioned in my last video on NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, which I'll link up here and in the description below, these narcissistic traits are traits that we all possess to some degree and in varying situations. However, the one main trait that separates the true narcissist or malignant narcissist is that the malignant narcissist lacks the ability to look within, become aware of these traits, and take honest accountability for those traits and try to improve those traits. So if you're watching this video and you're recognizing some of these traits within yourself, and you're honestly trying to improve those traits, or maybe you've taken it one step further and you're seeking counseling, then you are most likely not a malignant narcissist. Studies show that people with NPD almost never seek counseling. So just the fact that you're aware of it and are earnestly working to improve that most likely means that you're not a malignant narcissist. I hope this video has provided some clarity on whether your twin flame is a narcissist. A narcissistic relationship is not a healthy relationship. So don't feel like, oh, it's my twin flame, I gotta stick it out no matter what. I gotta stick it out just because it's my twin flame. No. Unconditional love does not mean unconditional tolerance, okay? Your spiritual evolution centers around your journey through self-love. You are not loving yourself in vibrational congruence with your divinity if you knowingly tolerate narcissistic abuse. Now, question of the day. Is your twin flame a narcissist? Let's read all about it in the comments below, Light Fam. Remember, if you do have a question for me, keep those questions coming over on Instagram _Lightways. And if you do know someone in a narcissistic relationship, twin flame or not, share this video with them. Help them out. Empower them. Share this video with them. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. I will see you guys in the next video. Light, love, and abundance to all that are watching and to all you love. Peace, guys.